All right, we are live on YouTube. We're not live on Periscope. We're not live on Twitch. We're only live on YouTube, and the reason for that is because the app that I was normally using to live stream, to like multi-stream this show, was only going to it kept shutting down. I don't even know why. Ever since I came back to DC, there has been some sort of problem, and I haven't figured out what it is, but I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. In the meantime, we've got YouTube, and we've got our little YouTube crew, so that's fine. Periscope is really just so everybody else can see it, but YouTube is where it's at. It's more like a club in here. So we're now on Anchor, so I'm also recording this on Anchor. So you have both video on YouTube, and you also have the audio version. It goes to Spotify, Apple Play, Google Play, SoundCloud, and a bunch of other apps. And I'm gonna include this in the description of this live stream. Let's see if it's gonna load. All right, it shows that we're live on YouTube. And I'm gonna include this in the description, like all the links to the different podcasting platforms that this will be available on. So it's all good. And then we'll tweet it. We'll tweet out the link. Joe Anderson so far has been he's been downloading audio, and he's been making it available for other people to download. So that's really cool. Thank you, Joe. We're gonna tweet this out. Live only on YouTube. All right, so we got that under the way. What's today's topic? Who is really a conservative? This is something that I've been talking about as I have my tea. Someone is asking who I liked in the debate. Believe it or not, I did not watch a dumb debate. Not even a clip. I didn't even watch a clip on Twitter. Not even I saw someone tweeted a Marianne Williamson clip, and people were saying that she was funny. I didn't even watch a second of it, and so I have no idea. I don't know. People are saying it was a kook show. I actually don't even know what, was Biden there tonight? It sounds like Biden was there. Everybody seems to be talking about Marianne Williamson. There's Joe talking about it, and so Marianne Williamson seems to be all over my Twitter feed. I guess she was the winner. It really sounds like based on what I'm reading on Twitter, it sounds like people are just amused by her. But it could be a good strategy. People were amused by Donald Trump, and he's president now, so maybe, people are amused by Marianne Williamson because she's such a weirdo. So maybe that's gonna work out. People are saying Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang seems smarter. And, wow, someone is saying Drudge has Williamson at 47%. That's pretty impressive. I didn't even know who she was before this whole thing. I'm having tea, in a really hot summer in a really hot attic, But it's really good tea, so it's worth it. Rosemary says Democrats want to keep Yang out next round. Yeah, I saw that, people are, I saw, there was a news story about, how the DNC is trying to keep Yang from being in the next round. Yeah, that's very unfortunate, because Andrew Yang really gets a lot of things that most of our politicians don't get. He's someone who speaks to, a lot of independents in this country who are kind of fed up with They're fed up with the whole partisan ship of things. He's fed up with partisan politics. And he represents those kind of people who are fed up with partisan politics. He's also speaking to like a much younger crowd, a very effective, powerful crowd. The memers and the gamers and all these people, and also just the people who are independents. And the people who are tired of being boxed into one category and want to be able to have conversations across political aisles. Sorry, I'm tired because I kept trying to do a live stream and it kept going on and off, and I still don't understand what's going on. I really actually have no clue. Like last night I thought it's because I used the word SHIT and then YouTube didn't let me. But now I'm not even sure anymore. Now I'm thinking it might not even be YouTube at all. The problem might just be, I don't know. I have no idea, and my internet works. So I think the problem might be my Prism account. That's very possible. But the first topic that I was actually going to talk about before I was having all these live streaming problems is actually it's actually the mom thing. Okay, so my first topic was actually about moms, about how moms are crazy. So I'm not like joking when I say this. I'm not even half joking. Like I'm 100% serious when I say moms are crazy. If you're a mom, then you're crazy. I mean, you're like biologically insane. Because the things that moms do, like normal people wouldn't do, anyone in their right mind wouldn't do. And yeah. So like the craziest mom story, like the latest crazy mom story is coming out of St. Louis. Okay. This man, his mom dies, and then he goes and like they're collecting her things after she dies and whatever. He goes to her freezer and finds a baby. A frozen baby in her freezer, and it's like in this like package, like a cardboard box, and it was there in the freezer, like taking up like a quarter of the freezer. He said he grew up with it. His mom would keep like this package in the freezer his whole entire life. No one was allowed to go near it, and so he never touched it. And then after she died, he sees that there's a baby inside of it, and the whole thing is so bizarre. And basically the story goes like this. Mom has a baby, and this is his older sister, by the way. This is before he was even born. So he grew up like knowing that there was something in the freezer that he wasn't allowed to touch. That it's mom's and no one's allowed to touch it. He never touched it. I mean, what a good kid that he never even got curious once in his entire life, and he never, I mean, I'm sure he did get curious, but once in his entire life he never went and like opened it. And it turns out his mom was hiding a baby in there, not just any baby, his older sister. His mom, apparently the baby got sick, or I don't know, maybe it was a stillborn, but she even had a name. Her name was Jennifer. And the mom would sometimes talk about Jennifer, and she would say, oh, you know, if Jennifer was alive today, she would be 21 years old now. And I think that's a really good indication of how moms are crazy. She is going to lengths to keep her baby alive and near her. I mean, her baby's obviously not alive, but she's basically like a mummy. She mummified her baby and kept her in her freezer just to stay close to her. All right. Kind of weird. So I've watched a couple horror movies with Daniel while I was in Charleston recently, and everyone's got like telling me all these nightmare stories about dolls, and it's just creeping me out. But that's just one story about a mom being crazy. I mean, I can tell you so many stories about my mom being crazy. I mean, my mom is like the queen of crazy moms. My mom should start like a blog about how to be like batshit crazy. I mean, okay, I'll tell you this story. I mean, this story is not a secret. I've said it before. But when I was little, I was in my, like my family was going out on a trip, and we were in a car. We get to the park. Sorry, we went to the park. I don't know why. See, I'm just like, my brain isn't working tonight, because of everything. So anyway, we go to the park. My mom did not store me in a freezer. My mom did not put me in a freezer. We go to this park with my family, and I was like a little kid, and of course, I leave the family and I go wandering off somewhere, because that's how I always was, and a lot of kids are like that. They'll just like leave the pack and they'll just go wander off somewhere, and the parents are like, oh, where did Pardes go? Where did Pardes go? And then suddenly I end up somewhere and I'm like, oh, where am I? But anyway, I made my way to the playground in the park, because there are actually multiple playgrounds in this park. And so it is a big park. So I made my way to one of the playgrounds, and there was like sand and everything, and there was like this spinning wheel where you sit on it and it spins. So this like older guy comes over, and he's like, and by old I mean like, you know, like probably middle age or something. He comes over and he goes, would you like a spin? And I say, of course, yes. Like, you know, I was excited. You know, and he first he goes like, would you like to play with me? I don't remember, but basically he like, we played a few things. But anyway, this older guy was playing with me, and he was spinning me on the spinning wheel. That was one of the things. And so anyway, while I was on the spinning wheel and he was spinning me, my parents finally see, and my dad was like, okay, you know, we're gonna take our kid now. My mom, oh my gosh, my mom went insane. She basically, like, she walks over to the guy, and the guy is freaking out. I mean, the guy is pissing his pants, and he's running away. My mom's like, no, you stay here. What are you doing spitting my daughter? And he's like, oh, well, I was just playing with her. She wanted to, right? He looks down at me, and he goes, right? And I'm like, yeah, I wanted to play with him. And my mom goes, she wanted you to spin her that fast? My daughter wanted you to spin her that fast? And he goes, yeah, of course. And he's like, and you think it's a good idea to spin some stranger's daughter on the spinning thing that fast? And he goes, yeah, why not? And then my mom goes, okay, well, why don't you sit on the spinning thing, and I'm going to spin you now. And the guy was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just going to go now. My mom's like, no, you stay here. She basically sits the guy down. 1 second. I'm trying to hide these. She sits the guy down on the spinning thing, okay? And then my uncle and dad were there. She tells my mom's like a little lady. She's not big or anything. She wasn't pushing the guy herself. She tells my dad and my uncle to spin the guy as fast as possible. So they're standing there, they're spinning him, and she's going faster, faster, faster. And they're spinning him faster and faster. The spinning thing, it goes as fast as you make it go. There's no break on this thing. It's really, I mean, you can really make someone really sick by putting them on it. And the guy is like, okay, I get it. I'm going to go now. And she's like, no, faster. You like it? Now you like it? Now you're having fun? And really like torturing this guy. And finally, and I was like, no, Mommy, he just wanted to play with me. Like, stop doing that. Anyway, finally they let the guy go. The guy looked awful, and finally he left. Never came and messed with any of us again. But that's just one example of a crazy mom. Like, my mom, I mean, and that's not even, like, yeah. That's just like the beginning of it. I mean, that's just like the beginning of my life, right? Since then, there's been so many crazy things, and like, I can't even begin to tell you. My mom is like, in a creative way, like, she finds creative ways to be crazy. And I've been hearing a lot of stories from my friends too. Like, I thought I was all alone because I have just a crazy mom. I've been hearing stories from my friends and what their moms do, and I'm just like, it's a disease. Like, all moms are just insane in the brain. Yeah. Mike Carter says being protective is good, but they take it overboard. Hater Hanzo says, I think you should check your mom's freezer. Felix says, my mom would probably have tried to sell me to the guy. Oh my god. That's actually pretty funny. Okay, so there's only one thing worse than a mom, and that's a mother-in-law. So, like, mother-in-laws are, like, really, 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 really crazy. So, like, moms are crazy, and mothers-in-law are crazy because they're moms. But moms who are dealing with, like, in-laws are just crazier. Okay, so list of crazy things mothers-in-law have said. Alright. So, apparently, this guy's mother-in-law. Okay, my mother-in-law is over 6 feet tall, as is her husband. My husband, her son, is 6'5". I stand at 5'2". So one day, in a conversation with another person, the subject of height came up. My mother-in-law pointed to me and said, she may be short, but she doesn't think like a short person. I don't know. Actually, these stories are like vegan. Like, there's nothing crazy about these stories. I mean, I've met crazy mothers-in-law. I've met a mother-in-law who literally, she made up this, like, disease that the daughter-in-law had to, like, try and mess with her son. Like, I don't know, just crazy things. Anyway, someone is asking me about if I'm going to talk about the Dem debates. I can't talk about the Dem debates because I don't know. Do I want Donald Trump to win again? Like, I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. Like, I don't care who wins. I think Donald Trump will win. And, like, no one else is showing that they're qualified to win. Like, even, the Democrats, there's Tulsi Gabbard is someone that a lot of people on the right are pushing for. Andrew Yang, I don't know. Andrew Yang is like, he's cool. He's not going to win against Donald Trump. None of these people are going to win against Donald Trump. They all just, it's just a spectacle and a bunch of, and the thing is that, like, if it was fun, then I'd be watching it. And it looks like fun, but for me, it's just more stress than fun. Oliver says, Tulsi's pretty good. Does she have a daughter? I don't know if Tulsi has kids. Tulsi, children? I don't know. I don't think she has kids. She doesn't have any kids. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard doesn't have kids. But I think the winner of this debate was Marianne Williamson because she was the most entertaining, but I don't think there is a winner of the debate in terms of like who's going to be a threat, in any way, who's going to be like qualified to challenge Donald Trump. I don't think that there's any winner in that sense. I think that the topic of this live stream is actually who is a real conservative or who is truly a conservative. And what I'm going to say is I think the meaning of conservative is like totally lost right now. Conservatives are calling themselves a mixture of things. And there are a lot of liberals on both the right and the left, except if you're on the right, you're called a conservative. If you're on the left, you're called a liberal. It's all so arbitrary. Everything's kind of in the air, but I don't think people on the right should be called conservative. Conservatives are traditionalists. I don't think that I'm a conservative, to be honest. Just because I want secure borders, that doesn't make you a conservative. I mean, Democrats wanted that too. A while back, Democrats wanted that when Democrats were a little more sane. Wanting safe, secure borders, that's just like a common sense sort of thing. Wanting, your constitutional rights protected, that's like a common sense thing. Wanting like equal rights, I don't know. I think these are all American ideals. Wanting secure borders is not even an American thing. It's just like, it's common sense. It's like you still want your country, so you still want your borders. There isn't any debate there. And I don't think that makes me a conservative, to be honest. That just makes me like something that existed way before conservatives or liberals or anyone existed. That's just something that everybody believed in once upon a time in this country. Sorry. Conservatives are traditionalists, people who believe in, like gender roles, like very traditional family roles, and they believe, like marriage is up to the church or whoever, and and because of that, I don't know, there should be a very traditional way of marriage. Abortions should be illegal from the time of conception. And what else? Conservatives in terms of, I don't know, like, a lot of conservatives are not really conservatives. A lot of conservatives are actually liberals who are called conservatives because they somehow ended up on the right, because things that were once normal to everybody is now just being accepted on the right, because the left has just become this. The left has a lot of conservatives in it who don't even realize that they're conservatives. The left has a lot of traditionalists. So when I say conservative, I'm actually talking about a traditionalist. The left has a lot of traditionalists, and they just don't realize that that's what they are. I don't think that there should be a definition of conservative versus liberal. I think that there should be a definition of, conservative and liberal exists, but it's so arbitrary and it's so not within the boxes that we've drawn for ourselves. I think these terms should just not be used right now, because like there's so many different groups within the right and the left, and a lot of groups on the right and left, like the right and left anti-establishment groups are way, 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 way more likely to get along together than the anti-establishment left together with the establishment left, or the anti-establishment right together with the establishment right. The new right and the neocons hate each other. I mean, they're not gonna love each other. They're not gonna hate each other more. Sorry, they're not gonna love each other more than they will love the other political parties. They won't, because they're so different at the core. Like, okay, they both support secure borders, or like, I don't know, legal immigration and law enforcement. These were things that everybody supported, and they're not conservative things. They're just, it's only now called conservative because the right somehow became the only side to allow these people in. Like, the Republican side. I mean, it's not even the right, it's Republicans. Republicans are somehow the only party that is the party that is allowing all these pro law enforcement, pro justice, whatever people in without alienating them. And the left has really just gone too far left, but almost in a tyrannical sense. So there are a lot of lefties on the right. There are a lot of very, very liberal people who ended up on the right because the left has become really, really, really tyrannical and very intolerant of just anyone who's a little bit different or whatever. So I don't think it really has to do with liberal versus conservative, because there are plenty of liberals on the right and there are plenty of conservatives on the left that are more likely to get along with conservatives on the right than they are with the other people there. So, I mean, it might sound a little bit confusing, but it's just a lot of different groups that really don't fit with each other. And because of this, by the way, I think that we need to have like a totally separate system for government. I don't know if we're ever going to do anything like this, but kind of like a multi-party system. And I know we've got like, okay, there's a Green Party and there's independents and libertarians, and it never works. But I think that there should be like some way to try and break everybody up into groups. The Bernie Sanders people are not in any way the same as the Joe Bidens and I don't know, and those are not the same as the Elizabeth Warren people, and those are not the same as the Andrew Yang and what's that guy's name? Starbucks guy. Like, none of these people are in any way similar, and some of them are more similar to people on the left. The Bill Kristols are in no way the same as the I don't know, like the Rand Pauls. Who are in no way the same as the Ted Cruz's. Like, they're just all so different, and I think that it would be a lot more effective if we had different, like, multiple parties, kind of like a parliament. Diacritical One says coalition governments are so difficult, and they are needed with more than two main parties. Crystal needs to take a Valium. All right. Kingfish says the people in Wisconsin who voted for Trump are not alt-right. It's just a silly term. That's right. I mean, it's just a way to shut people down. Rosemary says no parliaments are worse. That's funny. But Yeah, I mean, it's just a shame that I just don't feel like anyone's voices are really being represented. When I mean anyone, I mean like the majority of the country. Like, I don't feel like ordinary people's voices are being represented by, and it's not just the left. Like, I keep complaining about the left, but honestly, like the right, why do you think I keep trying to push away from politics even though I love it so much? The right has become so cringy. Like, I mean like the pro-Trump right. And I'm not like, I don't want to dish on the pro, I don't want to dish on anybody because I'm also like, we're all doing the same thing, and we're all in the same space and responsible for the same things, but it's just really become cringy. Everyone is just like spewing talking points, and it gets tiring and boring eventually, like it gets to be the same old thing. Everyone's just kind of attacking each other, trying to find ways to smear each other for very disingenuous reasons. Everyone is using the terms racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe. Um, Honestly, these things really, really make me upset. Because it just feels like there's no way that you could actually have like a normal debate. It's all the right is constantly complaining that the left is saying sexist, bigot, homophobe, this, that. They do it themselves too. Except when they do it, they're not even being serious. Like, 100% that they're not being serious. I mean, the left, we complain that they subconsciously are like just trying to shut their opponents down and whatever. But when the right does it, the right is like very, very obviously not meaning it. They're just doing it to attack their opponents. Democrats are the real racists. That's what I always say. Democrats are the real racists. They're the real sexists. The real big. I thought that as conservatives, we all believed that you don't use like senseless labels to shut people's arguments down. You argue with them. You have a real conversation with people and allow different ideas into your group instead of just shutting people down and shaming them with these labels. You racist. You bigot. You homophobe. You sexist. You ageist. Whatever. And it's just all the same thing. They're all doing the same thing. And I always say that I like to be around the people who are called racists or sexist or bigots because, first of all, those people are not necessarily any of those things. Those people are just people who are shut down, who people didn't want to debate, so they just shut down. And those people tend to be great. People who people don't want to debate. If you're a kind of person that people don't want to debate, you're probably really smart, or you're just kooky, in either case, I like you. Or you could be actually a real racist or sexist or bigot. But the thing is that there are a lot of those both on the right and the left. We actually have a lot of, and it's usually the people who won't admit it, like the people who are constantly pointing racist at everybody else. Those people tend to be pretty racist too, themselves, without realizing it. But yeah, the right has a lot of those. The traditionalist conservatives are the worst, to be honest, in my opinion. I think traditionalist conservatives, when it comes to race and gender and sexuality, traditionalist conservatives, I think, are the worst. I mean, it's very obvious. Like, just go and ask anybody. It's not like a secret. And it doesn't make them bad. And I don't think that racist, sexist, homophobe, this, that, should be in any way used as like a weapon. This is called like a belief system. And belief systems are all like, it's all subjective. You can't tell someone that their belief is wrong. That's their worldview. And just like they're not saying that to you. But at the same time, I think that, yeah, we can say that a lot of people are just not, like, there are some people who are racist, sexist, bigot, or whatever in the way that you think they are. But I don't think that that should be used as a weapon in any way. People should be allowed to think whatever they think. Opinions change all the time. I've been a traditionalist most of my life. I was a traditionalist conservative most of my life. I was very religious. I think it goes hand in hand with religion. And like, my opinions changed. A lot of people's opinions change, and it's not that, oh, as this and that. People's opinions are changing every day. Yeah, you can't destroy somebody's life for having an opinion, just like they can't destroy your life for having an opinion. They shouldn't. But I don't know. I'm personally just kind of tired with the traditionalist right, because it just, a lot of it just seems disingenuous. I mean, all politics is disingenuous, but personally, I've been having trouble with the traditionalist right, because they tend to push back a lot on the racist, sexist, bigot, whatever. But a lot of people on the traditionalist right are just their own worst stereotype, without realizing it. Good people, but they could, it's always good to have a little bit of self-awareness. And I see that a lot of people are really upset by what I'm saying, in which case, sorry, this is what I think, but not all the people on the right are conservatives. People are really pushing back at this, what I'm saying about the traditionalist right. Dude, nothing I'm saying is controversial. Just, I mean, have you ever met a traditionalist conservative? Are you gonna disagree with me on this? Are you gonna is this something that you've never heard of or is new to you? I'm not saying this because somebody on the left says this. I'm saying this because I was a traditionalist conservative my whole life, and I spent my entire career, most of my career, around traditionalist conservatives. Thank you, Rosemary. And there is a very real stereotype, and it's there for a reason. Yeah, as a girl, I feel it. A lot of outlets, from most of my career working in a lot of these outlets, I was the only girl, and the women were always paid significantly less. I'm just using this as an example. There is definitely a culture of women are just okay, you really should be at home taking care of the kids or doing whatever. So the fact that you're here, okay, that's nice. Women, I think, are very undervalued in a lot of traditionalist conservative places. And I don't know, I think a lot of women can agree with me. I think a lot of women will agree with me. And the worst thing is, these people are always saying that, they'll always use the whole race, the left is so crazy because they call everybody racist and everybody sexist and homophobe and bigots. So these people use the left's craziness as cover for their own mistakes. I mean, like, yeah, the left is crazy and they're just totally going all out. But you also still need to be, like, a little more aware of yourself. I think a lot of traditionalist conservatives have just totally dropped everything and been, and like, just going totally the other way because of how crazy the left is. So we can all work a little bit on that to just all be a little leveled and not go to extremes. Personally, as a girl, also as like a brown girl, see, we don't talk about that. People are calling me white just because I'm, you know, like, affiliated with the right, but yeah, I'm still brown. I'm still a brown girl. Yeah, I don't always feel like I have it's, and if I were Muslim, it would be a lot worse. I'm not Muslim. A lot of people think I am, but yeah, it is really hard. It is hard to be a brown person or a girl or whatever, in the traditionalist right. This isn't like a controversial thing. Anyone who's like that can tell you it's a real thing, but you just can't say anything because then you're suddenly like a crazy leftist person. You're suddenly you're suddenly an e-thought or whatever. You're suddenly a snowflake. There is a whole conversation about butt stuff going on in the comments. There is just a weird conversation about butt stuff that I really feel like I want to be a part of, kind of. Right. Felix says Matt Stone said it best. I hate conservatives, but I really hate liberals. That's funny. Yeah, I just spend my entire career like defending conservatives, defending a lot of like stuffy old conservatives, and now I'm just like, I'm kind of tired of it. I don't really feel like, you know, I don't feel like these people really respect me in any way. So I support them doing what they want, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, you snowflakes are calling these people racist bigots and you're you know, like, I'm not gonna sit here and defend people for being stupid. Yeah, but a lot of people on the left are like that too, so it's not just the right. There are a lot of traditionalist conservatives on the left, and they won't admit it. Okay, so people are saying that YouTube ended the stream. We're still here. I don't know what's going on YouTube, but I'm still here. There's no problem with the stream as far as I know. YouTube has been cutting a lot of people off lately. I don't know what it is. Let's see. I'm kind of afraid of YouTube, to be honest. I'm afraid, you know, we're actually if you guys want, you can keep replaying these videos. When we hit the 4,000 hour mark, this channel can become demonetized, and we're almost there. We only need about how many more hours watched? We only need about 80 more hours watched. That means that this live stream, if about 80 people watch it, just this live stream, we're good. If just about 80 people watch this entire live stream from beginning to end, or you leave it on and you watch and it goes from beginning to end, I'm eligible to potentially be monetized, my channel. That would be insane. I could, you know, like, the one thing that I want to do so badly is it's really hard for me to work for people. That's the biggest challenge for me, is working for people. I've been working for, I mean, the past 5 years, I've been going from one job to another. If I told you how many jobs I've had in the past 5 years, how many full-time jobs, you would be horrified. I kept going from one thing to the next, and it's really hard for me to work for somebody because I'm constantly working. Every minute of my day, I'm doing something. I can't not be working. So these full-time jobs, especially office jobs, they're the worst. You go into work, it's 9 to 5. You go into work, usually they don't have something for you to do all day. Like usually they just have like, you know, a few things that they need done, and then the rest, and then you get it done, and the rest of the day you're just sitting around moping around doing nothing. For me, I'm constantly getting things done. So whether I'm in school, I'm studying, working on, you know, like I've been working full time, and I've been traveling, and and then there's, you know, I've been working on like different video ideas. I like to be constantly working and reading and trying new things and exercising, but these 9 to 5 jobs, they kill your soul because you're not necessarily being creative or productive during that time, and you're just like either doing busy work or just being babysat. I personally think, and then at the same time, like, it doesn't feel flexible, and I just feel like, you know, it's just like I'm working for someone. Even the nicest person in the world, working for the nicest person in the world is going to be difficult for someone like me. I really need to be on my own. So basically, my dream is to be able to monetize, which we're like getting closer each time. And I know some of you are on Patreon. If you're on Patreon, if you are a patron on Patreon, you are not getting benefits, really. The benefit, you are getting a benefit. You're paying for these live streams, and that's what you're getting. And the other things, you're not really getting the other things. I mean, the other things are, you know, live chats every week. Actually, the people who pay $15 a month, they actually get that. So there is actually a Twitter chat with the people who pay $15 a month. Actually, only some of them. So if you want, you can be on that. It's part of the Patreon. But not all the like perks are active. Not all the tiers are active. And really, the people who are on Patreon right now are doing it because they want to help. They're not necessarily doing it for the benefits. So I really appreciate that. You shouldn't feel pressured to do that, by the way. If you were on it thinking that you're going to get certain benefits, and then you saw that it's taking this long, there's no pressure to like stay on until then. You can come down, like you can lower your pledge or whatever, and then when we get things going faster, you can get back on. So don't feel pressured in that sense. We're going pretty fast in terms of, we're going very fast in terms of, you know, what we're doing here. And once I leave my full-time job, it ends the end of August. So we're just starting August, so I've got another month at this job. I will have a lot more time to work on these. So I'm really excited about that. Working on this, that's all I want to be doing. I really just want to be making money from making these videos. And it sounds like, you know, who can do that? How can you do that? My parents would be horrified if they knew that this is like what my goal is. To make money just making videos on YouTube and other platforms. Yeah, they would be horrified. But I think it's possible and I know it's possible because it's only been 3 months and I'm already hitting the 4,000. I'm already getting my channel monetized. And that's pretty freaking amazing. It's really hard to do that. So, you know, not only can I do it with this one, I am hoping to make multiple channels. I'm talking with Joe Biggs. I don't know if some of you know Joe Biggs. He was banned from he was banned from a bunch of different platforms, but he's so funny. So I was talking with him about starting another podcast. He's hilarious, and I'll be in Charleston a lot, and so I'll also have a chance to go down to Florida a little bit because that's where he lives, and he's got a studio and everything, so that would be really exciting. I can't do that now because I'm working, but after I leave my summer job, I will have a lot more time for that. I'm really excited. I mean, there's so many different people that I've been like partnering with. Kevin Jones says, I think you're doing great. Sorry. I think you'd be great doing a call-in show. That would be a good idea too. Here's another thing that people don't get. People are like, oh, like this is so unprofessional, amateur. Who's watching this? You should have had, you should have done your live streams like this. You should have the quality like this, blah, blah, blah. What people don't get is that I know so little about this stuff. The fact that I'm even running this and I figured out how to turn this YouTube live stream on and how to work it. So that's a big deal for me. I'm just really bad at this stuff. So that stuff is going to happen. It's going to take a little bit of time, but these are going to keep getting a little better each time. And hopefully, we're going to have a lot of stuff. I have so many hopes. It's going to take a while because I know these things never end up being as quick as I expect them to be. But Oliver says if you're doing it full time, you really should try different things every day. Yeah, like right now, I've got a full-time job and this is what I'm doing at night. Once I leave my full-time job, the only income that I will be relying on is you guys. I'll be pumping up my Patreon, plugging PayPal. PayPal and Patreon are already in the link, but I haven't really been advertising it because I don't want to make false promises. But once I leave that, I'm going to be totally dependent on that. PayPal, Patreon, we're going to have super chats on. There's super chats, YouTube ads, and a bunch of other stuff, sponsors. So that's going to be where my full-time income is going to come in. So I will have to be doing this full time. I'll have to be looking for a bunch of different content and working with different people. Daniel Bostic, I've been hanging out with him so much lately, and he is such a talented person. The way that I found him, that I knew about him or met him or whatever, is I started following him after a Periscope that he did. It was really great. He was really talented, and he was a lot more outspoken back then. He's a former actor, model, and he's worked on Capitol Hill. He's done a bunch of different things. He was very outspoken, and he's very talented. But for a while, Daniel went kind of dark. He didn't really put himself in the spotlight as much. He was mostly helping other people become famous. And I'm really happy because Daniel's getting back into that space again. He's putting himself back out there, and I think Daniel's going to do really well too. So I'm really excited to do more stuff with Daniel. And a lot of these ideas are actually coming from you guys. So if you have any ideas, keep sending it to me. Even if I don't respond right away, I'm seeing it, and I'm probably going to use it at some point because I'm really trying everything, a bunch of different things. So some of it is going to be a flop, but anyway. Rosemary says more culture stuff. Oh yeah, culture is not going anywhere, even though they've been banned from Twitter. They're not going anywhere. Felix says you'll know you've made it when you start selling merch. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to start selling merch. Joe Biggs is the best at making memes and just weird graphics. So the one that I do with Joe Biggs would have I'm going to convince him to for us to start selling merch right away because he's got a really good talent for this kind of thing. Rosemary says you interacting with culture, not Oh, Okay. Rosemary says culture. culture. Actual culture. Yeah, culture stuff is fun. I like it. I love talking about culture. Okay. So I'm going to say goodbye to the people on Anchor. This is a podcasting app, so you can find it in the description. You can find all the links to all the different podcasting platforms in the description. Go on any of them. Spotify, you want to go and listen to this, at work tomorrow, on the way to work tomorrow. Feel free to do that. So I'm going to say goodbye to the Anchor people and see you all tomorrow night. And if you're on YouTube, which you are on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tomorrow we will be a lot more, we'll be a lot earlier and ready. Rosemary says DC actor interviews that I did before. Okay. That'd be fun. Nate is my favorite person. Every time I want to shut down, Nate goes, "No, don't leave!" And then it makes me feel so wanted. All right. Okay. Have a good night, everybody.